And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys all of the skins that have hidden Easter eggs in their patterns. Now, for this video, I'm not going to mention stuff like the Fire and Ice rare pattern, because this is just a way the pattern is on the skin that we, the players, have named, and not actually an Easter egg in the pattern. Same goes, for example, a Case Hardened, which could be a blue gem, but that's just a part of the skin. It's not really an Easter egg or so, it's just blue and gold, and if it's full blue, we, the players, call it a blue gem. But before that, I want to thank today's video sponsor, which is D-Market. Now, D-Market is a CSGO marketplace where you can buy and sell and trade your skins easily for real money. So if you're buying skins, for example, buying a Tiger Tooth on D-Market, you're paying $463. Meanwhile, on Steam, you're paying almost 600 euro, which is a very big difference. And if you're selling skins, they could be in high demand, meaning that you're only paying 2% selling fees. So if you want to try them out, then please do so from the link in the description. And now, let's check out those Easter eggs. Now, the first Easter egg skin is the UMP Minotaur's Labyrinth. Many people know this skin and they've seen it because it's from a pretty famous collection. But did you know in the middle of the pattern there is a very, very small blue Minotaur hiding inside of the labyrinth, which as you can see is pretty small, so it's hard to spot and hard to get on your skin. But here we have an example of that Minotaur in perfect position in the middle of the skin. This one is a bit of overpay, obviously, because it's so rare and very well centered, and many people have never even seen this Minotaur on the skin because it is so rare, and most of the Minotaur's Labyrinth look like this without any Minotaur. A skin I guarantee you've seen before is the Op Paw, which is a very used op because it's not that expensive. But did you know this one actually has some rare patterns? And no, it is not this dog who has had his head blown off, but rather the golden holographic cat, which is on the pattern. You also have this golden sort of holographic hand grenade, which is decently rare, but obviously the cat is the most sought after pattern. Now, this is what an op paw would look like with the hand grenade. You can see here, it is very holographic in the right light, but this is what the best pattern gold cat would look like. As you can see, it sticks out, it shines, and it is very noticeable on the skin. Next skin is very famous, and you probably know what the rare pattern is. We're talking about the Glock Moonrise. Most Glock Moonrise just look like this, a regular purple Glock, but of course you can have a pattern like this where the slide lock has a rare white star on it. Very cool. This is what the actual pattern looks like. You can see you have the skyline and the moon and only one star along the entire line, which is visible on the slide lock. So it's pretty rare to get this exact star centered. One of the more known rare patterns would be on the XM1014 seasons, which usually looks like this. It's not very good, a lot of black and just like fall leaves. It's all orange or red. It doesn't look great. But on this pattern, there is one single blue leaf on the entire pattern, which is visible if you have a full fade version of the seasons, and only shows up on about 2% of all of the XM1014 seasons from what I've seen. It's kind of a cool little Easter egg, and obviously it's a common skin. It won't add too much value, but it is pretty rare. Another little Easter egg many people don't know about is gloves. Did you know that almost all the gloves have some elements What the fuck? Most, if not almost all, gloves contain elements from previously released Valve-made skins. Some examples of this would be the UMP Houndstooth, and you can see the pattern. It looks exactly the same as the Sport Gloves Scarlet Shamar. The MP7 Skulls, you can see the pattern of the skulls. Of course, that's also featured on the Hand Wraps Cobalt Skulls. Exact same pattern with the skulls in alternating directions. Another skin is the Op Boom, and you know this pattern where it says boom, pow, crack. This one is featured on, of course, the Moto Gloves Pow, where it says pow, boom, crack, and it looks very similar. But did you also know that it's the same pattern that's featured on the Moto Gloves Boom? You can see, it's the same pattern from the Op Boom. Why are they reusing so many of these textures? I don't know. And in my opinion, by far the most interesting one of these Easter eggs would be the MP9 Pandoras Box, which is also featured these minion looking guys on the sport gloves Pandoras box. And many people have no idea they actually are. But look here on the inside of the hand, you can see that the palm, it's featuring the Pandoras box skin. That's really cool detail, I think. Another skin with a few Easter eggs is the whole German Gander lineup, like this deagle here. Usually it just looks like this, where you have random stripes and lines, but on the handle of this one you can see the head of the serpent, which on the pattern is only featured once. This of course also applies to something like the Astral German Gander and the Flame German Gander Og. You can see here we have the head of the serpent, pretty decently centered, but unfortunately upside down. A skin with an Easter egg that's kind of flown under the radar is the Withered Fuck! Which looks like this, and apparently it has one flower that is colored differently than the rest. It looks like this, you can see. It's a very nice, like a purple flower. This one has a pretty good position. This is the same with how the P90 Verdant Growth, which has the same pattern as the Withered Vine, only has one flower, which is white, and how the XM1014 Elegant Vines only has one flower, which is red. That's pretty cool, and maybe you didn't know about it. A skin I guarantee you thought about when I said hidden Easter egg patterns would be the 5/7 Cami. And the 5/7 Cami rightfully has a lot of very, very famous pattern that may or may not be a little bit suspicious, but these patterns aren't actually like intended by the creator of a skin. They're just a product of how the 5/7 skin works. For some reason, the play side is one pattern and the other side is another pattern, but the back side is only half, but it is then mirrored and applied to the other side. So in my opinion, yeah, these are patterns and they're cool, but they're not real patterns. No, the real pattern of the Cami would be this. Did you know the Cami pattern features a full-size manga animation cartoon like this based on CSGO? Well, I took the liberty of taking this whole pattern and translating it, and this is what I got. You have a lot of funny things, like over here it's telling you how to use the bomb as the T side. Over here on the left, it explains what each of the grenade types do. For some reason, this guy up here just says, I love curry. And probably the most fun part is up here with a picture of the curry. It just says, this manga is pointless. I just like the Japanese text. That's why it's written. Obviously, the translation is scuffed, but you get the point. It's pretty funny. I know I've mentioned this in a video before, but the Glock Catacombs actually has some rare patterns, which I had no idea about. And you can see this on the pattern where almost all of them are just regular skulls, but there are some weird things, like this small skull inside of this animal skull. You have this Dia de los Muertos skull over here, but the most rare one I think would have to be the beautiful butterfly on top of this skull, which there's only one of. And this is what one of those rare butterfly patterns would look like, and it is pretty noticeable even though it's monochrome and looks kinda similar, and also it won't be worth much more because it is such a common skin. One skin that has a pattern that has quite a lot of overpay is the Galil Phoenix Blacklight. You can see it's just got this random graffiti everywhere that says Phoenix, but in the top left here we have a full-blown actual Phoenix, which looks very nice. And with the correct positioning, you can have a Phoenix Blacklight that looks like this, which is really, really cool in my opinion. This one, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is fucking pretty expensive. I actually wanted to buy one of these not so long ago, but it was so expensive that I decided not to. It's kind of like a bootleg Galil Howl. It's just very, very nice pattern. One of the more random skins in CS has to be the Souvenir MP5 Lab Rats, but there is actually a pretty rare pattern on this one, which is nice. This is the pattern, and as you can see, almost all of the rats are just the same gray color, but some things stand out. For example, some of the rats have a number in the red on them, and here in the middle there is a large blotch of red, and there is also a fully red rat, but my favorite pattern by far would be the singular red rat up here. This is what a perfect red rat pattern would look like. It's centered nicely on the front part of the gun. I don't know what it's called, bro. I'm not American. What skin are you using for your XM? Well, it may be the Zombie Offensive, but did you know there's actually a secret Easter egg featured in this pattern? Well, the pattern looks like this, this, and of course it has all the different agents from CS, but there's actually one singular zombie chicken here down to the left. And he looks very funny, arms forward like a zombie. This is very cute. And this is what one of those patterns would look like. You can see the green zombie chicken towards the back, and it looks like this in game. You can see it very clearly. That's a fun Easter egg, but sadly it's not recognized almost at all, and many people don't even know that it exists. A very recent addition. Addition! A pretty recent addition to CS would be the Anubis collection with the AUG pit snake pit. Oh my fuck. This is a very cheap skin, gray condition, and not very interesting. But did you know there's a secret in the pattern? On top of one of the snakes, there is a frog, which I had no idea existed up until now when I'm making this video. And one of these frog patterns would look like this. You can see he's very visible, the full frog, and visible in game as well, even when you're holding the AUG normally like this. Very cute. Now, most people know on the Freehand skins, there are these small characters in the text, and they might think that they are pretty rare, such as this one where you can see the little guy screaming, but they're not actually that rare, because in the pattern you can see there is one little stick figure, another one here inside the A, another one squished inside the E, and then one in the S. So there's literally 4 of these small guys you can have on your Freehand skin, so they are not at all rare and don't really require any overpay. And the last skin on the list would be the Galil Caution, which is made to look like caution tape, and being from the pretty recent Vertigo collection, it's very common. But what's not common is that this caution tape line can be tilted, and if it's tilted at the perfect angle, you can see this little guy falling over at the bottom of the pattern. Now, he is pretty rare, and this is what a perfect one of these would look like. Obviously, it could be a little better centered. I guess maybe it could be on the mag. I just haven't seen it myself. But having this little guy fully visible is actually pretty rare. And that's pretty much it. Those are some of my personal favorite skins with hidden Easter eggs in the pattern. So thank you guys for watching this video. Maybe you now know some more about patterns or found some of your new cool hidden Easter eggs. Whoop him!